Hi guys in the CAA class. Welcome back to part 2 of your lesson for today. Now that you've completed those activities, can I ask you to open your books to go on to the next page in pages 74 and 75. Okay, 74 and 75. So I want you for a moment to focus on brands. Now, brands are famous labels, things you maybe see in famous clothes, famous sportswear, different things like that. So, for example, what brands do you know and why do you think they were chosen? Think for a minute or two, write down any famous brands you know in particular and why were they chosen. So, for example, one of my favorites is Primark or Primark. This depends on where you're from. And it's famous for very cheap clothes or reasonably priced clothes and looking fashionable on a budget. And why was it chosen? Actually, I really don't know. But the thing is, the name is very distinctive everywhere around the world. But now I want you to think of what brands do you know and why were they chosen? So I'll give you 2 minutes. Okay, so now we're going to move on. In this part, we are focusing more on the gapped text, okay? The gapped text section in your reading and use of English exam. In this part of the exam, you have to put the correct section of the text in the main principal text itself. So parts of the text are missing, but you have to put the correct sentence or paragraph into that text. It is important that you need to make sure it makes sense, because if it doesn't make sense when you're reading it back, you know you've made a mistake. So look at what comes before and what comes after. Very similar to what I said in the previous video in regards to the multiple choice close. Okay, now I want you to focus on activity 3. Activity 3. I want you to read the first 2 paragraphs of the text on page 75. Now, as you can see in the blue box, a student correctly chose one of the correct paragraphs, one of the missing paragraphs. But which paragraph is she referring to? I'll give you 2 to 3 minutes. Highlight any vocabulary that you do not understand, okay? And as I said, I'll explain at the end, any vocabulary you do not understand that I do not mention, you can ask me via email, okay? All right, okay? You have 3 minutes. Pause the video and then play when you're done. Right, hopefully that wasn't too difficult. Now, let's move on to activity 4. What I would like you to do is complete the text with the correct answer. Okay, so now complete the text with the correct answer. And before you do so, I have an exam tip. Always look for words and options that link to the answer. Now, I've said this before in class. I've said this many, many times. You need to make sure that the links and the parts are correct and that they are completed appropriately, okay? So if you feel that if it doesn't make sense, there is a potential chance that it's wrong, but make sure that you answer the questions, okay? As I said before, any vocabulary that you do not understand, highlight it and leave it for the end. If I don't mention it, any vocabulary that I do not mention that may be difficult, you do ask me, okay? I'm going to give you 6 to 7 minutes to complete this task, okay? So now pause the video and then press play when you're done. Now, hopefully that was not too difficult, okay? Now, I do apologize in advance if this is the other way around, but I will go through some of these words with you. The first word is terrain. Terrain. Now, the meaning of terrain is like a mountainous range, okay? Sometimes it's very, very high mountains, and the higher the mountain, the higher the terrain, okay? The second word is what we call debacle, okay? Debacle, okay? So Debacle. Now, debacle is usually an embarrassing moment or event, which usually has severe consequences afterwards. Okay. The third word, dismally, dismally. Awful, terrible. There's synonyms there. Awful, terrible, very poor. Okay, so dismally. Intrinsic. Okay, intrinsic. Okay. So intrinsic, to have a fine or specific meaning. So in this context, it would be fine or specific meaning. So very intrinsic. So you have to be, it's like very much attention to detail here. Okay. A hackle. Hackle. Now, hackle is a little bit of a difficult word, okay? Because it's when the hairs on an animal's back stand up, usually when they are angry or in fear. So when the animal's hair stands up, there is a hackle. There's a hackle. So for example, as I mentioned here, on a dog's back, a hackle and erectile hair. And also, and that is the only words that I found in the text that I think you may not know. But any other words that you do not know, do not hesitate to email me and I can go through them with you. Or on Monday, I can go through it during the Skype lesson as well. Okay, so in conclusion, what I want you to do is, with all your answers from today's lesson, can I ask you to either take a photo of your answers and submit it by email as an image, or type your answers out and submit it by email that way. Okay, I will be in touch either this evening or tomorrow to discuss doing a test run of Skype with you two, with both you, Miguel, and Alejandra, and so we can practice just a quick 5-10 minutes to see if it works, and then on Monday morning we will do the Skype lesson as normal. Okay, and go through the text and everything else accordingly. All right, so I hope you both have a very good weekend. Stay safe, and I will see you on Monday. All right, okay, bye.